Hey everybody, this is UB Yeti back with another We Are Hiring series, and today I'm joined by Uzo and Derek from Prologis. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Thanks for
having
having
us.
us.
Absolutely. So I want to start with you, Uzo, and talking about COVID-19 and its impact on Prologis and how you guys are navigating all of that.
Yeah, it's we're in the real estate business, and so our business has a lot to do with staying connected with people, especially where our business strategy is going and becoming a more customer centric organization. But the every business is experiencing kind of how do we do this remote work thing, and we're very, I think, fortunate that a lot of our jobs can be done from everywhere. A lot of our employees are on the road. Um, but our focus has really shifted towards first and foremost making sure our employees are safe and comfortable in their new working environments in this new world. And then the second focus is our customers. And I've been really impressed with the proactive nature of our employees, just reaching out to their clients, seeing what they need all over the globe, because this thing has impacted different areas in different ways. But the teams have rallied, and they haven't needed a lot of direction in that. So it's been pretty awesome to see. From the support standpoint, one thing that Prologis does really well is we take care of our folks and we think about them a lot. And one example of this was very quickly, I think in 3 days, Derek, correct me if I'm wrong, but in 3 days we stood up kind of an internal loan program for employees whose spouses or households were otherwise impacted. If an employee's spouse lost their job and now that income is gone, we've issued no interest loans to employees just to keep them afloat. It's nothing anyone asked us to do. We just did it. And I haven't worked for an organization that's really thought about things to that nature. And obviously our employees are really grateful for that. So, we're in this Zoom universe like everybody else, and continue to think about ways to, help our employees and customers.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I love to hear that kind of stuff. I think this is an unprecedented time where organizations have an opportunity to truly focus on their people in a way that hasn't been done before, and so it's great to hear stories like that. Derek, what are a couple of core truths about Prologis, right? Like people are looking for their next career, their next place to work, their next team of people. What is it? What are the core truths about Prologis that would attract the right people?
Yeah, I mean, I think currently in this time, right? I mean, a lot of people are going to look for a company that's solid, right, from a market standpoint. I think that's really first and foremost on everybody's mind of now do I change industries, from hospitality and join an organization that is well funded or in a solid position, and that's really true to Prologis. I mean, we're actually to add to Uzo's point. I mean, we're really fortunate that we're now working with cities and state governments to provide potential space free of lease for overage of supply to hospital type structures, right? And so we did that in some of our cities to just give them warehouses, right, for free of lease to the city to allow them to do that. So that's, I would say, to the second point. I mean, our core is really sustainability and giving back. We do so many nonprofit type of opportunities here, as well as where can we give back. I mean, we have a huge footprint as an organization, and when we build these big buildings, we understand how that impacts the environment, and we want to make sure that we're giving back as much as we can. So when people are looking for organizations to join, I mean, I think those are the things that kind of matter. We have a lot of fun, and we do work really hard, but we're also a very lean organization, and we stay lean for a reason, to allow our employees to continue to grow and develop in their careers. And we continue to re-engineer our culture around that. How do we allow our employees to start off as an intern and potentially get the development and coaching and mentorship to work themselves all the way up to a senior leader, right? And how do we do that? And Uzo's team really steps in and helps the organization and the leaders fundamentally get that going and supporting them. And then my task is really kind of coming in and helping bring in the talent that really looks at what their next career can be, and how real estate is an evolving industry, and it's very innovative, and not just when you think of tech as only being the innovative space. Prologis is Uzo and I often say this, we're often kind of the Google of real estate. By no means are we Google, but we sit as that type of company in the innovation space within real estate, and how we push the boundaries and how we continue to create, and our slogan is ahead of what's next, and that's really true to the way we do things here.
Yeah, that's great. And let's talk about roles real quick then. What are you all hiring for? You're still hiring. You're still growing. What is it? What are some of those critical roles that you're looking for? What would their impact be on the organization moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, we're full steam ahead. I mean, some of our markets are slightly less busy, right, because of our customer shifts. But what that means is just that our internal teams are now focusing more on the customers and their needs, and how we can offset rent, or what can we do to support them. So it really transitions their roles into being more customer focused, which is a huge initiative for us. But we're hiring all across the board. I mean, everything from we have a role open for an SVP of global energy, to HR business partners, to I just closed the recruiter role this week as well in Europe. We have maintenance techs to property managers to positions in legal, like all across the board. And I think anybody from any industry can really come in and have impact. Our managers are pushing to think outside of just thinking of having real estate focused mindsets, and bringing in individuals that have different perspectives. So we've done a really good job of trying to message that out internally. And then, a push for ours is actually, before this whole incident happened, was to start to get more individuals that come from the hospitality space. And so I think if you're in that space, our business really would be a good place and a good home, especially in our field markets, where you have experience working with hotels and the property side and managing those things. That takes a level of customer service that we're excited to bring into the business from a hospitality standpoint. So hopefully, I mean, we can have some impact in hiring some of those individuals that have recently lost their jobs.
Yeah, no, that's great. And Uzo, like from a diversity and inclusion standpoint, I mean, how are you and Derek working together? I mean, what does that look like for those people from a lot of diverse, underrepresented groups of people? What's the advantage of looking at a Prologis, for example?
Yeah, well, I think Derek had sort of hit on this, but it's really one of our core strategies to continuously improve everything that we do. And Prologis makes adjustments, I think, very well in real time. So, so for example, you might think, well, how can an organization be, does inclusion and diversity work really stop because now we're all working from home? So, what does that really look like? And I think, inclusion is really about the way that we interact with each other. It's our behaviors. It's the culture that we build. That's even more important now than ever, because everything has to be more intentional. Every interaction with your team, you have to over communicate. You have to really leverage your strengths. You are forced to trust your people. Therefore, I think the leaders that recognize that, and some that, that I think the circumstance kind of forces you into it, is you have to naturally build a more inclusive culture, even though we're further apart, which is kind of counterintuitive in a sense. And we're working on that even with our, our new hires. We have 56 roles open now. Even now we're talking about the onboarding process. How do we adjust to that? For an example, I'm hiring HR business partners on my role. And a lot of my mind share right now is thinking, how do I get in this virtual world that we live in? How do I make sure that they connect with the right stakeholders, leadership, individual employees, from the maintenance tech all the way up to the president of the region. And we can do it. We just have to think creatively about it. Do we do happy hours,
Absolutely.
meet and greets, coffee? You do a coffee meeting with everybody that you meet. You just expense it. We'll pay for it, and you get your own. You get your own thing, and there's things that we can do. And so we just have to think non-traditionally about what the concept of inclusion and diversity is, because the work doesn't have to stop.
Yeah, and one thing to add to that, I mean, I think this time has been pretty unique, right? You see different sides of your colleagues, right? And I think every organization can feel that. My kids constantly make an appearance on Zoom, and my dog, and same with Uzo's dog, right? And so
Yeah.
you're seeing sides of your colleagues that you normally haven't, or
Right.
would have only saw on a small glimpse, right? And which is really interesting because it shows. I've had conversations with managers where we were going to have a talk about something of business strategy, and the whole 30 minutes was just spent about talking about family, and I think a lot of people are just asking the same question when they start one-on-ones or meetings, is just, hey, how are you doing?
Yep.
And that's to me has changed the inclusive piece, and really kind of understanding each other, and where we're struggling or how we're doing during this time. And so the work that Uzo's been doing, I think that it's translated well into how we worked as a business, from going from being in office to now always being virtual, right?
Absolutely. No, it's an unprecedented time, and I think um, empathy is a great piece of that. And yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is the true definition of literally bringing your whole self to work. I mean, we're even though we're isolated from each other, it's a window into all of our lives that no one would normally get to see, honestly.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's all your worlds are blending into one.
Yeah,
So
that's it. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate
it.
and fortunate, right?
Yeah.
Right.
When
Yeah.
you think about yeah, I had this conversation with an HR colleague the other day, and there's she was telling me a story of a leader at a company who was like, hey, you still have to dress for work, top to bottom, want everybody there at 7:30. I want a report of what you're working on today, a report on at the end of the day what you got done, and it just screams, I don't trust you. And it
Yeah.
screams like, I want this level of control and lack of individuality. And I think companies that continue to do that in this environment create more unnecessary stress, and actually hurt their cultural objectives in doing that. Kids are going to be running around. Your kitchen is your school, is the cafeteria, is your office, is
That's it.
your home. It's all of that, and you just have to get used to that. So I can't tell you how many times kids have made cameo appearances in there, and it's okay.
It is okay.
You're all in the same place. I expect to
That's
see
right.
at some point. So.
Yeah, no, that's huge. Well, to close it out, let's real quick, what do you guys recommend as far as strategy for candidates to connect with you, to apply to Prologis? Like what do you recommend?
Yeah. Obviously you can apply online. And if you're watching this video, I would say apply online and just say me. So that's helpful. And I'm happy to kind of help you get that into the right team. Obviously it depends on where you're applying and what type of role. So we have a pretty robust recruiting team that they do their absolute best to reach out to everybody and get in contact. But that would be the best route. And if there's something that's really specific, I mean, you can definitely shoot me a LinkedIn. My LinkedIn's pretty easy. It's just Derek Johnson at Prologis, so you can find me there. Um,
Mine's a little harder, but should be
yeah,
the
yeah.
elite Uzo.
Oh,
Should
we'll
be
put the
elite
links.
Uzo.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll put the
But that's
links, yeah.
yeah, right. That's always the easiest, right? And you can once you kind of do that and you shoot me a message, if it's a really good fit, we'll do our best to try to see what we can do.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of companies out there, especially in the local market in Denver, that are putting lists together and actively putting types of positions on there. I would say a lot of our positions we're in office environment first, so we don't necessarily hire for remote type work. But in this scenario, we have the capabilities of bringing people on. And so in the month of March, externally, we hired 30 individuals
Oh,
in the month
wow.
of March when this was all going on, right?
Yeah.
And this week we put out, just did a report. We put out 12 offers and had 12
Hmm.
accepts this week from external people. So in a
Wow.
week we hired 12 people across the globe. So we're still full steam ahead, and
Good.
if you're interested, yeah, just shoot me a LinkedIn, and happy to get connected.
Perfect. Well, you heard it here first, everybody. Yes, Prologis is hiring, and yeah, again, there's hope out there. Don't give up. Derek Uzo, always a pleasure. Thank you very much,
Of course.
and yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, I
All
appreciate
right.
it. Thanks.
Oh, thank you.